I'm Rupert Gatti. I'm an economist at Cambridge, Trinity College, but I've also recently started up and one of the directors of Open Book Publishers, who are an open access academic publishing company. So I want to talk really about open access publishing in academia, and just to think about some of the issues that are going on there and some of the opportunities I think that are around. So academic publishing is changing pretty dramatically. There's been a lot of press media in the last 6 months about what The Guardian called the academic spring, where academics were revolting against commercial publishing. And this was highlighted by one of my colleagues at Trinity, Tim Gowers, who started off a blog statement saying he didn't want anything to do with Springer. It's now got 20,000 odd signatures by academics saying they don't want to be part of a commercial publishing of academic results and knowledge. It got picked up by places like The Economist, who have come out and said, look, you know, research needs to be open access. And I think, you know, when The Economist and places like that come out and say, we need a new business model, and open access is something that we need at the national level for the economy, then, you know, it's a big step. And then we've also recently had places like Harvard University saying, you know what, we can no longer afford to buy the journals that are needed to be an academic institution. Now, Harvard is the richest academic institution in the world. So if they cannot afford it, there are quite a few other universities, possibly even we're standing in one, who are having difficulty as well. So we're in the need for a change, and we need to be really thinking about how we are disseminating all the research that is going on in universities, both in the sciences and in the humanities and arts. And a lot of the concentration up until now has been in the sciences, but I think there's also a lot of issue in the humanities and arts about the research that's going on there, and that's actually where we're concentrated. So the academic spring has 3 main parts to it, I think. There's a broad recognition that the existing model is unsustainable economically for universities, and for universities that means the research, a big component of a national research sector. Public access to publicly funded research is another part of the argument. It's already publicly financed. Why shouldn't it be publicly accessible so that industry can pick up and innovate and take it and run with it thereafter? And now we've got all of the UK funding bodies. The EU just announcing as well, a lot of UK and a lot of US funding bodies are requiring that the research that they fund becomes open access. So open access of research is happening. And finally, we've got a lot of academics that are discontent with the commercial publishers. And they're discontent for a number of reasons. One is that the publishers are profiting on the back of research funds because they're making their money from libraries, which are coming out of the research funding. So there's some concern there. And secondly, that they're controlling the research agendas by publishing policies. And so the commercial publishers are biasing and influencing the research agenda that's going on, and that's detrimental to society. And so one of the things that I can add in there is that the commercial publishers are able to sort of monopolize, by monopolizing the knowledge content and by controlling the dissemination of that they're doing a lot of damage. And so academics are wanting to have a platform in which knowledge is freely available. Now, this is the content providers. This is the academics who want knowledge to be freely available, and they're saying, we can't do it under the existing industry structure. We need a new industry structure. So open access provides one of those things, looking at time. Makes access free to read, but it also makes it free to reuse. And this is a critical one. And this is where the Creative Commons licenses are being widely applied now in academic work so that people can reuse it. And that's the whole point of the exercise. And it's including both original data and archives, which I think we'll be talking about, but also the research output itself. And so what does that mean? That means that there's a huge amount of academic research data and results that are coming online, and they're becoming available. And at present, the only people that are using them are commercial publishers. And so there's a tight sort of idea that in these big deals that they will tie up that and provide, if you like, the apps that sit on the top of all that data is going to be what the commercial publisher does. But there's no need for a commercial publisher to do that. These are apps. These are things that actually everybody in the room has been developing. And so what we've got is the ability to have lots of data coming online from all the university research for app developers to come along and use. And so what we need is a framework that will encourage that and facilitate that. And so that's what we're looking for. We're looking for searching tools to get through all of that data, to work out what we need. We need it to be customized, used to customize, as Uday was just talking about, where we have things being focused by the audience, be they academic audiences, be they industry audiences, be they general readers. They need to be able to focus in and find the information they want from this vast quantity of really good quality research which is around and out there. Okay, so what we're trying to do, Open Book Publishers is set up as an open access community interest company. It's a non-profit organisation. And what we're trying to do is put together a framework which will allow open access publications, make them free to read online using Creative Commons licenses. We have the peer review process so that we're saying, look, this is quality stuff that's coming out and it satisfies academic promotion requirements. And it ties up with, and we come back to multimedia, ties up to the archives and background resource that goes with the research. So that you've got research, but it connects through to the audio clips that the anthropologist took in the deepest, darkest depths of somewhere. And we can tie both the research to that, but also bring people through to find the original research and use it for their own generation and their own generation of what they're doing. So we've developed an open access publishing. We've got a fairly strong academic reputation now. We've got people like Amartya Sen and Caroline Humphrey and some fairly well-known names who are now publishing with us. And so what now the next step for us and for the open access industry, I think, is to be able to develop a platform that allows new innovative uses of the data to emerge. So it's that, and so we're looking to publish with other open access publishing initiatives so that we can get returns to scale in areas where we can do that and provide that big platform of information for others to be able to come up for, and also for media developers, I say in a very broad sense of the word, to be able to come in and use the data and work with us about how the data can be done in such ways and come up with novel ways of doing that. Is that 5 minutes? That's great. Sorry.